Welcome, welcome, welcome. Appreciate all of you. Now, remember this. If you guys were here last night, we did a part one. And on that part one, it got even more crazy. We had all type of interference and people against us. We had the whole nine, right? Everyone was upset with what we were doing. And all we were doing was telling the truth. They had all kind of technical difficulties put on the scene to slow us down, to stop us. Why? Why was all of this happening? Not only was I kicked out alive, I couldn't get back in it. It was ridiculous. But as they're in court right now, we'll tackle that later on today. But we must continue from what happened before they cut us off last night. Now, Mr. Ferguson was taking this down. That's where we were. So hit the like button, good people. That's why I tell y'all to hit the like button. So that people would understand what's going on. The whole nine. Yeah, so they came back, they brought the jury back in, and they said they're gonna go enter a stipulation into evidence. During a search at the Miami airport, law enforcement seized 2 cell phones from Christina Courtroom, and they said they published that for the jury, and it says 24 contacts, including Eddie My Angel, and his phone number and everything else, right? There was also photos of IDs on the device, the whole nine. So they also entered into evidence records from Signature Bank. And they said, Judge, any objections? The defense said no. And with that, they called in Derek Ferguson. And he said he worked with Diddy from 1998 to 2017. And this is about right where we ended yesterday. He said, what was your role? He said, CFO. That's Chief Financial Officer, for those who don't know. He says, how were your bonuses determined? The company results and my performance. Were you responsible for managing finances? He said, yes, at times during my tenure. Who was your supervisor? Sometimes to Mr. Combs himself. How often did you interact with Mr. Combs? A couple of times. Later, he became more of a chairman. How did you communicate with him? Back then, pagers. Who is this? Uncle Paulie, Paul. And these individuals, Roger Bond and D-Rock, they were security. What Mr. Combs, the sole owner? Was he the sole owner? Yes, 100% of Bad Boy Productions and Films. What was his role? Creative and marketing. Did some ventures have partners? Bad Boy Records with the Arista, also with Warner, Sean John Clothing had a partner. What were the profits? Very profitable. How was Mr. Combs paid? Sometimes salary, sometimes distribution from the companies. What is a distribution? is solely owned or passed through an S corp, the owner determines to draw down. Did each have a bank account? Yes. Could you sign on the accounts? Yes. Which banks did Mr. Combs' company use? Citibank, HSBC, and Signature Bank. Which is this one? And they said Janice Combs Music Incorporated. It furnished his name and likeness. Mr. Ferguson, are those your initials in section 4? Yes, it was 92909. Is this also a business checking account? Yes. And this one with Diageo and Ciroc? How is this account funded? Inflows. What about credit cards? Primarily American Express expensive reimbursements. Did Mr. Combs have an Amex card? Yes. Did he use it for personal as well as professional? Yes. And the companies paid? Yes. How was outgoing cash handled? We had a petty cash account and a cash advances. For example, those traveling who didn't have American Express cards, AUSA said, when Combs was paid in cash, how did it work? We'll match it if it's a contract. Were you aware of Mr. Combs' security staff carrying cash for him? I was not aware of that. And when you were responsible for his personal finances, what did you do? Budget for the year? Properties? Inflows and outflows. What properties did he own? The Hamptons, New York, Miami. They were held in LLCs for anonymity and liability reduction and tax benefits. Of Mr. Combs? Supporting other people? Yes, from his. Your Honor, this might be a good place for us to take a break. They say, how much more with this witness? About 20 minutes, we think. And Jane will start late tomorrow. We expect 2 days for the cross-examination. Only Mr. Ferguson today. And they said yes. And if Diddy's cross goes long, we may stay late. And the judge said, okay. They took a break. So before the jury came back in, right, Jason Driscoll gets up and said, this exhibit, this from Diddy's side, one of their lawyers. He said, this exhibit is full of hearsay. And the judge said, I have the gist. Miss Foster, are you saying none of this is the truth? And that's from this exhibit they got. And she said, yes, this is not excludable hearsay. They said the objection is overruled. How are we doing on the compilation video? They say we still object, the defense. The judge said, but the complication is put together, right? They said, yes, we would like some materials to be taken down, the government said, and other relief. They bring the witnesses back. We were discussing these bank records. What is 207? It's an LC. They said Mr. owns property in Alpine, New Jersey. What is the mailing address? 1710 B-Way. What are these internal transfers? They said 190,000, 575,000, 100,000. And December 11th, who decided whether to initiate an internal transfer? They said usually the controller. They say, do you remember these? And they said, no, I don't remember that. And they said, this is an outward transfer. To whom did it go? And it was Cassandra Ventura. They said, for how much? 20,000. And this one coming in, Roderick Ventura for 20,000. And they said, when did you leave the CFO position? The end of 2012. Yeah, sinuses is crazy. They said the then chief growth officer, the Revolt Media and TV. They said, after you left, how often did you communicate with Mr. Combs? He texted me in 2024. I don't remember the date. They said, well, let me show you. He said, I see, nothing further. So they call in the judge. They say, you grew up in the Bronx. Where did you go to high school? And he said, Sturzevant. They said, where did you go to business school? Harvard. MBA, 1990. So now Diddy's lawyers get to go after this guy. And I'm still trying to figure out from the testimony I just read, I'm trying to figure out why everybody said Diddy is cooked. But it's just really bizarre to me that they're taking that approach. The government just asked him basic questions on what he did, what was his job, and okay, he's making payments to Cassie Ventura for $20,000 and Roderick Ventura for $20,000. Okay, I mean, what are they trying to connect here? Are they saying these are payments? I mean, what are they trying to say? Where is it going? Okay, you could pay anybody you want out your personal account. I'm still not seeing the cook, but let's see what the defense has to say. So when the government came in, right, and they started asking him where he went, he got his Harvard MBA in 1990. So Diddy lawyer, who's the head lawyer, what's his name, Aganifo, he comes up and was like, you was in the BMG music group, right? He was like, yes. They owned over 100 music labels worldwide. They owned Arista, 50% of Bad Boy Records at a certain point in time. And he said, could Mr. Combs then do whatever he wanted? No, there were Arista agreements. Coming from the Bronx, I thought you needed more companies that would hire people from the community. I saw that in Sean Combs. I thought it was a chance to have an impact. What was the onboarding? Interview met some at Arista. I met Benny Medina, some others. They say, so you didn't just meet Mr. Combs and get the job, right? No. How did Bad Boy change from 1999 to 2012? It added other businesses, records, and getting competitive. The record business, it was just getting too competitive, so we added other business. They said, do you remember Notorious LLC? He said, it was a magazine called Notorious. He said, Bad Boy Records was established in 1993. I think it was in 1996. They said, did Bad Boy have connections to Interscope? Yes, and UMG. And they said, who is Andre Harrell? He founded Uptown Records. Hold on. They say he founded Uptown Records. He went to Motown, then back to Bad Boy. They said, what was his spirits business called? Eventually, it was called Combs Wines and Spirits. I was involved in the start with Diageo. Sorry. Sinuses was killing me. Whew. Whew. Sinuses. I thought I blew my eyeball out. That's how crazy that sounded. So they said it was started with Diageo or Diageo, however they pronounce it. And he said, what issues arose with Diageo? And they was like, objection. They was like, okay, what were the differences about how to market? They said, there's always differences of opinion. We had conversations. How do we drive it more? What was the brand everywhere, like competitors? So they took a sidebar. The judge said, okay, because now they're bringing up this liquor company, and these are the people we feel Diddy is hit. And this is the guy that helped facilitate the deal with this company. So you're starting to get the connection, right? But we'll continue. They say you were concerned that the Diageo or Diageo, whatever, was marketing Ciroc primarily in certain areas to certain people. He said, my opinion? He said, well, on your personal knowledge. The distribution was highly concentrated. The question was why? And Ferguson said Diageo was marketed more in the urban areas than more broadly. They said, okay, what about Revolt? It was owned by Highbridge Capital Management, which was purchased by J.P. Morgan Chase. I think so. Highbridge had 2 seats, right? Yes. 2 of the 5 seats at Revolt. They said, where were you at Revolt? I was COO. They said, what did that entail? Finance, production. And they said, and Sean Combs wasn't in the management, right? No, he was not. They say, look at DX 1901 about Combs Enterprise. Let's put this up for the redacted version. And in the chart, they showed the executive chart, and they said, here you have James Cruz and the HR officer after Vashta Wilson, Andre Harrell, and yourself. He said, this is the team. He said, what is digital? He said, your Paul says enough. Personal versus business expenses. What's your accounting background? He said, I was a CPA for a time. He said, you never saw Mr. Combs sitting reviewing his Amex bill? No. He said, when there was a partnership with another company, they would look at the books as well, right? Yes. Many high-profile people have personal assistants, yes, they do. Security was part of that business, right? Yes. Security's job was to be, they said the security's job was to be in close proximity with Mr. Combs so that no one would do something dangerous to him, right? They was like, right. Let's talk about cash. What was the cash receipt from when it was used? They's like, for example, touring. And they was like, sidebar. He called the sidebar so he could talk to the judge. Then he comes back and said, did you see anyone help Sean Combs commit crimes? He said, no. Did you see anyone make the company stronger through coercion? He said, can you explain that one? He said, what did you mean by coercion? He said, fair enough. He said, through sexual abuse or trafficking. He said, no. You were there for 19 years. How hard was it? Building from scratch, long hours. Did you see Mr. Send? He said, did you send Mr. Combs a text in November 2017? I don't. He said, I'll show you. He said, did you tell Mr. Combs you learned so much from him? Yes. He pushed the entire team. He had passion. You're a religious man, right? They was like, objection. They was like, sustained. He said, you're on the board of this charter school, right? Yes. The school tries to work with at-risk children, right? They was objection 403. They was like, sustained. Let's move on. He said, do you think highly of Mr. Combs? He's like, I don't know how to respond to that. The government like, we want a sidebar. They jumped up in disgust. They wanted to sidebar because all this rhetoric with Ferguson, I'm like, what are they talking about? I'm seeing all these videos. Oh, Diddy is cooked now. They got this guy. Diddy is cooked. I'm like, wait a minute. How is Diddy cooked? How? What? Where? Where is he cooked at? The guy just got on the stand and said the words, I never saw no trafficking or no coercion. In 19 years on the job, he been there the longest of any of these people they've ever put on this stand. He has basically corroborated that Diddy made his money through his businesses, his enterprise. So if you're looking for profit, where? The profit was earned through his businesses, not through trafficking and racketeering. Exactly. So after the sidebar, after they go through a sidebar, everyone comes back. And they said, the judge like, do y'all want to redirect? And he says, was Revolt Films entirely separate from Revolt TV? He said, yes. The government came back. They said, who was the head of Revolt Films? He says, I don't know. He said, did you ever stay in a hotel room with Mr. Combs? He said, no. On this org chart, who is the chairman? He said, Sean Combs. He said, and you see Christine Courtroom here, right? He says, yes. Do you see the name Mia? He said, development and acquisitions. And they was like, nothing further. And so they said, well, recross? And he said, okay, you didn't go to his home or hotels because this is his personal life, right? They was like, objection, sustained. Nothing further then. So they said, look, Juries, y'all might go. Y'all may go. All right. He said, that is his personal life. The government in this recross just exposed themselves. She's trying to come out there and pose like, you were never in a hotel with Mr. Diddy, right? Mr. Combs, right? You were never in a hotel with him. He was like, no. I mean, what did she expect? He's like, do you see Kristen Coram here? He's like, yes. Do you see her name? Yes. Do you see her name, Mia, right there? He's like, yeah, development and acquisitions. Who's the chairman? Sean Combs. No further questions, Your Honor. It's like, what's that supposed to prove? So they asked one question. It was like, you didn't go to his home or his hotel because that was his personal life, right? They were like, objection. Oh my God. It was like, you didn't go to these places because it's his personal life. So what he's trying to say is that's his personal life. He would have no business there. So if this is his personal life, he doesn't have that. He's only doing the business part of it. Why is he here? Why did y'all invite him here? Look, as they coming in with Jane today, they say, we want to avoid the type of accident that happened with Mia. So we want the public screens turned off. We want to avoid a situation where accidentally a non-reacted version goes up. So the judge said, okay, for Jane's testimony. So they said, the new compilation, I understand there is a defense objection. They said, I don't need further argument on that, the judge said. He said, I do intend to show Jane some explicit videos. I propose we turn off the attorney's screen so the gallery can't see. And they said, Mr. Combs is preventing from processing any of the text messages of Jane. Here's the ask. We need to meet with our client in a place with a desk with no separation to go through the text messages. And the judge said, could you do it if you leave now? And he said, what if we use the courtroom tonight? There would be marshals here. He said, there would be marshals here. He said, fine with us. He needs to see the text. He can only see them if he's with us. We need more time without a screen between us. You know, it's a Sixth Amendment issue. And the government said these text messages was produced in Rule 16 discovery. They've had them for months. We expect the direct of Jane to run to Monday, so they'll have the weekend. And the judge said the texts are sensitive. He said there's nudity. A paralegal could sit with Mr. Combs. And Diddy's lawyer said, we need a solution. And the judge said, why does this screen prevent you? He said, paint a picture for me. He said, the screen is a thick mesh. You want to see with your client and use a highlighter. There's time in a courthouse, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and after. The judge says, ask the SCIF. We need a special officer, I'm told. He said, the courtroom will be better. We don't mind the marshals. He says, there are marshal services issues. And the defense said, we still oppose. Yeah, he said, we still oppose the video from the compilation they put together. And the judge said it would be better if we had the original. And why don't we? And the defense said it would have been deleted after the 10 days anyway. And the judge says, for today, you can use the courtroom until 6 p.m. I'll try to figure it out for the rest of the week. And Diddy's lawyer said, I would like more time. He said, everyone else get out of the courtroom as we will the court. So Diddy and his lawyers, they had the whole courtroom till 6 p.m. to go over these text messages. Now, later on, we'll go through what they went through today and do day 16. But from that point, in that standpoint, you could see that there was massive problems in that whole testimony. Because I'm still sitting here going, what was the big blow? Mm-hmm. Well, you got to understand that people who are in this game are basically doomed to repeat everything that they hear. So they had this Donald Trump's gonna pardon Diddy. So they already trying to have Diddy found guilty. So whoever was doing that from the media, it was a strategic play. So now the jury, if they see that, they was like, well, we can go ahead and make him guilty. Trump gonna, so that way it's off our backs. Once again, using the media and manipulating the media to try to have Diddy influence, the jury influenced by such a decision. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to figure out, what did we miss in the cross-examination? Like what part did we miss? What was so damning? He paid money to the tape. He didn't set a price. They set a price. He was like, look, I'll take care of you. I just don't need there to be a copy popping up anywhere. We need this thing gone. So Cassie had a movie coming out. She couldn't have that video out. I don't know why Diddy just didn't destroy the flash drive. You don't, I mean, why even hold that? That's why I'm like, why hold it? All that could do is destroy you. Get rid of it. So if they did have a backup copy, Right. There isn't a bribe. He just like, hey man, I'll take care of you. You know, if you do this, I'll take care of it. And what happened? Each time. Now, ask yourself this question, right? When they proposed it, the guy, he said on the stand that the guy said I could do it for 50, meaning 50,000. Diddy gave him 100,000. 50 went to that guy, 50 went to him. They both got 50. And he came there, gave him the black flash drive. He found a way to do it. He was like, all right, Eddie, my angel. So that was his name, Eddie, my angel, for making that happen. Now ask yourself why. Why would that be the case? Good. I hope her goofies are here. Where is Teaser Tails goofies? Where your goofies at, Teaser? Are they here? I'm glad they are. Come on down. Because they need to hear some truth. Because if you at least listening to Teaser Tales for information, shoot, guilty. Diddy was guilty in doggone before they even had introductions. When they did opening statements, she had him convicted. And this was bad. In opening statements, Diddy is so done. Like, this is opening statements, woman. There is no case. Nobody's made an argument yet. Child, the witnesses they're gonna bring in, ooh, the defense are gonna be done. We be like, done, where they going? This woman is pure entertainment comedy, but it's not really entertaining. She's just a cute trying to run up her owner on the streets and press her. Here go Gene Deal. I got your back. For what? For what? Well, why would you have that girl's back? Of anybody. I wouldn't want her back. Good. Keep up all this raining. Good. Good. Now, here's the news. We're going to have a whole project done. Right? And we was discussing on the Patreon, like all in totality of what's happening here. Now, There's things that I don't want to bring up because, see, the government thinks that I'm feeding Diddy's team. So that's why they came through yesterday tampering with my live stream. They thinking Diddy's team listens to what I'm saying and they go and investigate and they thinking I'm helping the defense. Because I guess somebody then went and told him, teaser tell, he's helping the defense. He's helping the defense. Hey, all I'm saying is, if the information is public, what you mad at me for? It's public. As you can see, they can do nothing about it. I don't watch teaser tales because I'm not getting the truth. If I want to know what's going on in the trial, I can't watch her because it's not telling me what's going on in the trial. So I'm like, well, what did they think was bad? You just heard the transcripts. What did you hear that was bad in the transcript? Well, no, you run into different people. They right, they hit you with all kind of rumors and speculations. What you're not getting is the truth. Mm-hmm. Well, that's because people came up when you had all these people in the industry when they were doing their thing as far as coming up in the whole rap game or the music business. A lot of things that were appropriate or standard was not, now they frown upon. You can't go back. It's like the TV show Married with Children. With Married with Children, we love Married with Children. We love Married with Children. Do you think Married with Children Exactly. Do you think Married with Children would work today? No, right? Now, why would that be the case? Why would that be the case at all? Why would that be the situation? Why wouldn't it work? Of course, Married with Children was hilarious. It was fire. It was the whole thing, right? But why wouldn't it work? Because we know what the times we live in today. Everybody's super sensitive, mental health day. Yeah, mental health day. What they doing? You know those parties were wild. You know those girls is out there. Nobody was coercing them. They wanted to be there. They had jars full of pills and everything else. You knew that. Them girls want to do X. We gonna throw a party and pop X. Come on now. All these dudes was taking ecstasy and all this stuff. That's all they was doing at that time. They had their head back, eye, mouth wide open. It was like, what about here? They was doing it. I wasn't making them do it. Diddy wasn't making them do it. But those were parties, and it wasn't just Diddy. All them people were doing that in the industry then. It was the part of that craze, that whole ecstasy, party drugs. Woo. Allergies. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel a certain way. All right, I didn't feel a certain way. But for these people to come back 15 years later talking about they was coerced into taking some pills, now they lying. If you was around that vibe, if you was around that whole culture, then you know better. Right? You know BS when you hear it. But most of y'all people are young. You grew up in this whole victim era of it's popular and cool to be a victim. It's just ridiculous. So people want to be victims now. It's really sad and pathetic. They want to make excuses for failure. And failure to me is not trying. Period. A lot of them didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like most of these guys, they didn't understand the dynamics of what they were doing. They didn't understand they were the prisoners of their own embodiment. You know, like it's like, dude, you created this situation. You know, everybody's just dealing with it now. Mm. There's always gonna be somebody else waiting around the corner. So what was the point of bringing Ferguson in it, right? The CFO, the chief financial officer. Okay, so he said yes. This person got 20,000. This person got 20,000. Okay, mm-hmm. It's like Tibbs is at a point now where they say today's players like they don't want you to coach them. It's not like that. It's a whole different scenario of what you think. Yeah. Well, when you start looking at the last, no, they just wrote Diddy off as the person. I'm serious. Um, it is not. It is not ideal for anyone to see that happen to. They're not gonna take any of the disrespect back then. It's entirely different. Should they put the game on the stand? The game partied with Diddy. The game was a male stripper. He danced there twice, him and his boy James. It was male strippers. Mm-hmm. I think he did smash, to be honest. If you ask me, Game probably smashed Cassie and Diddy probably set it up. Who knows? He might have rubbed Game's semen on his nipples. He's a semen on the nipples rubbing guy. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Right. Nobody here is saying we love Diddy's behavior. We are not a part of that world. But Diddy invited Game into that world. Oh yeah, he want to find a new guy to hang with. No, you ain't gonna see Game take the stand. I'm quite sure they went the Game. Cassie probably said, "Man, I gave it up to some rappers, but good luck bringing them in here." Did he know how to get these people on the hook? Y'all be like, man, I don't see how anybody fall for that. Easy. It's Diddy. You know what Puff Daddy coming with? Puff Daddy coming with chicks, girls, the whole nine. Next thing you know, you there with Diddy. They ain't like, shoot, man, I'm hanging out with the Diddy man. Come on, Playboy, it's gonna be a lot of girls. Yeah, hang with your boy. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Come on down. We never went to the studio one time. Hung out with Diddy for 2 years and we never was in the studio. Nah, Diddy got you out here in the life, boy. The girls running around. Look, you thought you was. Diddy don't want you rapping. Diddy want you to kick it. That's a nutty buddy for real. You ain't lying. Shoot. But well, here's the thing about getting into that business. When you start going down those narratives, trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, you don't you don't mess up everything that you're doing to try to make it all about you. No, it's okay to roast people now. Things that wasn't okay back in the day has been approved to be okay today. Like people like Whack 100, that would have never ever been accepted. That would have never been okay to do. Mm-hmm. The new drug. He says, doing his God work out here, breaking down these transcripts and siding with truth. That's what's up. I mean, thank you for appreciating that, because that's all we doing. We going off the transcript. We going off what's on the plate. No. No, I mean, look, people have, of course. Oh, here they come with the sabotage. There's no racketeering here. Is Diddy a bad man? I don't know. I mean, is he a woman beater? Yes. In my opinion, Diddy will put a foot up somebody's ass. Before there was a trial, we stated this. Before the trial started, we stated this. He's a weird man. Yeah, exactly. But where's the racketeering? Where's the trafficking? We don't see it. They people talk about. I know you're a big man of God and a Christian, so all the stuff you're hearing, you made your personal opinions about Diddy, and that's fine. That's the activities he do. Nobody I know would approve. Hmm. Well, it's just when you're in a scene where you have the majority of the people around you and their circumference, they didn't see you as in a position of power or threat or whatever you might want to call it. But go back 20 years later when you have no money and you're trying to get more money out of the person, trying to say you was coerced to do something and they gave you something and you felt woozy. And everybody has the same, all right, everybody has the same attitude. Yeah, well, when people are in a lifestyle, right? Do you hear anybody talking about Bruno Mars? Talking about, well, they did drugs and he forced them. I don't know anybody who's done drugs that had it forced on them. Okay, please stop. Okay, nobody in Hollywood is doing that. You're gonna take these drugs or you're out of here. I mean, well, when people's careers is over, do you see anybody at the top of their career in here doing this? Nobody they're bringing in is doing something positive in their life, right? He's like, Kid Cudi. Uh, no. A lot of people want DeJounte Murray on the team. Well, everybody is gonna. Mm-mm, not at all. Not at all. We'll go over the Diddy trial when it ends in a few hours. We'll go over today, day 16, but this is the end of part 2. Yes, we had to finish up part 2, but we got yes, we will be doing today as well. Today they're bringing somebody on the stand who's gonna talk about what Diddy did to them. So yes, we have a lot of that going on.